Be bound here, Mikrul, Gyric and Sigdis, murderers, betrayers, condemned by your crimes against realm and lord. May your names and your deeds be forgotten forever, and the charm which you bear be sealed by our ward. Brutality, murder, betrayal. The history of Tamriel was built on these profane tenets, and beyond the occasional song, sonnet or drunken tale told in the cultural hubs of Tamriel, aka the taverns, modern folk rarely bat an eyelid when these things happen. The common man and Mer are too busy to worry about such sins, as they're too focused on fending off starvation. With this logic, the best way to have murder or betrayal completely overlooked by the masses is to simply do nothing. But should you try to cover it up, remove it from the pages of history and the lips of bards, that's when people start paying attention. And there just so happens to be one heartbreaking story of murder that one High King tried to sweep under the rug. Steeped in mystery, this tale is as tragic as a betrayal can be. This is more than just murder. This is patricide, the killing of one's own father. Hey guys, it's Drew here and welcome back to FudgeMuppet. In this video we're going to explore the sad story of a Breton mage named Gauldur. His avaricious sons schemed to dispose of him, for they wanted his powerful amulet for themselves. This tale would have broken the hearts of parents and children across Skyrim if not for the noble High King Harold, who made it his goal to wipe this story from the records. But one more question remains that we will answer on this journey. Did Harold do this out of the goodness in his heart, or did he have a reason to cover the story up? The answer has been obfuscated by the passing of the centuries, but whatever the answer, the three cursed sons lie in their tombs, each clutching a fragment of the Gauldur amulet within their cold dead fingers. Our journey begins within the pages of the book titled Lost Legends. This book tells of the fabled Pale Lady from Morphal and the mighty Reachman barbarian Red Eagle, but the focus of the tome is the story of Archmage Gauldur, which scholars claim is substantially harder to analyse. The Archmage was suddenly murdered, and the events leading up to and immediately following the crime were never documented. The next piece of the story conveniently comes at the chase. Gaulder's three sons fled into the night, pursued by the High King's most trusted battle mage, Lord Geirmund. When the forceful hands of justice throttled the patricidal sons, High King Harold didn't build a statue in memoriam of the Archmage, but instead had both his name and deeds struck from the annals. The truth behind this story may never be unearthed. It may be subjected to conjecture for the rest of time, but maybe there is more to be discovered if we follow the lead given to us from reading Lost Legends. According to the book, one brother is said to have perished in the ruins of Folgunfur, at the foot of Solitude, so we can start our investigation there. The site of an ancient Nordic ruin right beneath the spires of the Blue Palace is quite the bizarre contrast, and it seems equally odd that no one has sought answers within the crypt prior to our investigation. But when we arrive at the tomb, we can see a camp set up just outside. It's unoccupied but for a handwritten journal. Danis Valen, presumably a Dunmer given the name, found the ivory claw needed to enter the ruin of Folgunfar, and has ventured within to find the amulet. The first thing we see inside is a bloody exchange that left two Draugr and one sorry adventurer dead. The adventurer hasn't decayed yet, so maybe we just missed them. Another adventurer lies dead beside the keyhole for the ivory claw. No doubt Danis was clever enough to solve the child's puzzle keeping the door sealed. In the antechamber ahead, beyond some traps and restless Draugr, the corpse of Danis Valen rests against the next ivory claw keyhole. It appears he'll never get his hands on the Gauldur amulet. In the bloodstained part 2 of his journal, we learn what Valen discovered from his research. We learn where each son of Gauldur rests, as well as where to find Archmage Gaulder's own crypt. Valen attempted to complete the story, but affirms in his notes that this recount is the best he was able to put together, not that it is 100% confirmed fact. We can use his diary to guide us. The first part goes as follows. In the opening days of the First Era, the Archmage Gauldur was revered throughout the North. Wisdom, wealth, honour and power were his, and even Isgramor's heirs sought his counsel. Smothered by his shadow, Gaulder's three sons grew cruel and resentful. They lusted after their father's power and prestige, and eventually Gyric, the eldest, discovered its source, a mysterious amulet from which he never parted. Together they conspired to murder their father in his sleep, and divide his amulet between them. And so it was done. Consumed by their newfound power, the brothers laid waste to the surrounding villages. So great was the carnage that the High King himself intervened, sending a company of battle mages led by the Archmage Geirmund to subdue the brothers. And after a devastating battle, the three fled the field. Mikrul, the youngest, was run to ground in Folgunfur, the ancient barrows at the foot of Solitude. And though he fought for 3 days and nights, he was at last overcome and entombed there, his crypt sealed by an ivory claw. So it is Mikrul who dwells in this tomb. Beyond the door sealed by the claw, we can find the burial place of the youngest Gaulder son. From his twice slain corpse we can take a unique Gaulder Blackblade, and more importantly, the first fragment of the Gaulder amulet. Danis Vaelin's journal puts us on the trail of the second shard. Geirmund pursued Gyric to the shattered crypts of Sarfal, half buried even then. 10 veteran wizards fell before Gyric's elemental magic, but he could not overcome them altogether. He too fell, and was sealed within the ruined city. Sarfal was one of the first Nordic settlements established on Tamriel, and the secrets held within were the catalyst for their brutal wars with the nearly extinct Snow Elves. To gain access to the Etmoran Citadel, you must have joined the College of Winterhold and started your field trip with Tolfdir. But once you have access and descend through the ruin, you'll find the oldest brother at rest behind the magnificent Eye of Magnus. Compared to the wondrous orb in the background, the Gaulder amulet is an insignificant trinket. But regardless of the Eye's importance, we're here to learn the truth of Archmage Gaulder's murder, not ascend to Aetherius to find Magnus and the Magnagi. Once we've killed Gyric, we can set our sights on the final fragment. Vaelin writes, "And at last, Sigdis was cornered in the southernmost reaches of Skyrim. He challenged the Lord Geirmund to a duel, knowing his foe was honour-bound to accept. And they clashed in battle, matched strength for strength, and fell together on the field before Ivarstead. The High King ordered a tomb built for Geirmund on the lake, which still bears his name, and has Sigdis sealed within, forever guarded by the one who slew him." The length of the pursuit was impressive. After fleeing Solitude and the throne room of High King Harald, the brother made it all the way across the northern side of Skyrim, and then alone with his 2 brothers slain. Sigdis got as far as Lake Geir. Nature has reclaimed the secluded barrow, and the only signs of human intervention within the cave come from the lone piece of Nordic architecture nestled among the rocks, and the dead adventurer in the corner, clutching a copy of Lost Legends. A leap of faith is required to proceed, and beneath the tomb is flooded. At the end of a submerged corridor, a chest waits to be looted, and what hasn't been drowned has instead been turned into a frostbite spider's lair. As we proceed, we will find the battle mage Geirmund's body atop an altar, accompanied by a key and his epitaph. It reads, "Lord Geirmund, Archmage of Windhelm, Lord Battlemage to King Harald, Magus, keep thy vigil eternal, serve now in death as you did in life. By these seals our realm preserve, from traitors free and their charm of strife." Once Sigdis and his conjured clones are dealt with, we can take the final fragment as well as the unique Gaulder Blackbow. The final step is to take the fragments to the resting place of Archmage Gaulder. Danis Vaelin writes, "Gaulder himself was interred in a cave not far from where his tower once stood, in the place called Reachwater Rock. And when it was done, King Harald issued an edict. The name and deeds of Gaulder and his sons were to be expunged from every record, every chronicle. Under pain of death, no word of them was ever to be spoken, lest any try to recover the amulet that had been sealed at so great a cost." Hidden amongst the cliffs of the Reach, beneath a waterfall, lies Reachwater Rock. In the furthest recesses of the cave, we find the Emerald Dragon Claw, as well as an ancient edict which reads, "Let this place be forgotten forever. Let it be struck from the rolls of history. Let it never be spoken of by man or mer. Let its very name be lost to the ages. Ye who enter here know, this place was sealed at great price. Honour those who perished here, turn back and leave them to their rest." Sadly for the author of this edict, we didn't come all this way to respect the dead. In placing the fragments atop the pedestals, we can engage in a final battle and put the Gauldersons to eternal rest. Doing so will release the ghost of Archmage Gaulder, and with a grand sweep he reforges the amulet before our eyes, thus ending the forbidden legend. When the powers of the 3 fragments coalesce, creating the legendary amulet meticulously struck from history by High King Harald, it's hard not to be enticed by the forbidden power of the thing. So what exactly was all the fuss about? The Gaulder amulet increases your health, magicka and stamina by 30 points. Oof, hard not to be a touch underwhelmed by that revelation. centuries of suppression, keeping the amulet out of recorded history with great fervour, all over a 30-point stat boost. This video is not an excuse to criticise Bethesda's unique weapons and artefacts. We do that plenty in other videos, but it is a shame that the fabled amulet couldn't have a slightly more inspired effect. I guess the journey is more important than the destination, and what we encountered along the way was a betrayal so egregious that even 3 long errors couldn't quite hide the tragedy. Now, pretty much all records, from Danis Valen's research to the countless notes and edicts we find in the journey, pretty adamantly claim that this legend was one of cruel patricide, and I'm not going to argue against the common consensus. It is likely that the restless souls of the 3 Gauldersons were sealed away in their crypts for their power-hungry treachery and the ultimate sin of murdering their father, but the extent to which High King Harold went to cover this story up definitely raises a few eyebrows. With all the ancient and powerful artifacts scattered across Skyrim, it honestly seems like this amulet was the subject of more turmoil and pandemonium than any of the far more powerful relics out there. Ambition can corrupt weak mortals, there's no doubt about that. But my question is, did it truly drive 3 brothers to conspire against their own beloved father? If so, this is the most heartbreaking murder in Skyrim. But if not, it could just be the biggest conspiracy. Was the Gauldur amulet such a corruptive force that High King Harold wanted to guarantee no one could learn from its power? Was that why he went to such efforts to cover up the brutal patricide, sacrificing his best battle mage in a wild goose chase? Or was it the High King's cover-up? Perhaps High King Harold wanted the amulet for himself. That would prevent Archmage Gauldur from gaining too much power and influence. It would reaffirm his control over the province, and it would ensure that Geirmund, who was conveniently also an Archmage at the time, was the most powerful of the Archmages. Maybe the 3 sons learned of High King Harold's ploy and fled with the amulet, breaking it into 3 pieces to protect it from the megalomaniacal king. If I were the king and 3 sons had just murdered their influential father for a powerful artifact, I'd make an example of them. I'd have the bards sing of Geirmund's chase, and I'd mount the heads of the Gauldersons outside the Blue Palace as a warning to prospective betrayers and killers. I wouldn't hide their deeds from the histories. But hey, that's just my speculation, and you can believe what you want. That's the beauty of these ancient legends after all. No one knows the truth, and it will always be open to interpretation. That ambiguity is what makes the world building in the Elder Scrolls so authentic and fascinating. You can feel the history when you wander into these eras old crypts. In these olden ruins, the dead have their secrets, and the history books have their blind spots. These secrets can't be touched by living mortals. And there you have it, guys, the most heartbreaking murder in Skyrim, or perhaps the most well-concealed conspiracy. I hope you enjoyed the video, thanks so much for watching, I've been Drew, and I'll see you next time.